Okay, alive हो गए.
हम्म,
पहला तू करना.
पहले तू कर फिर मैं करता हूँ.
Okay. Okay, so our today's question is we need to reverse a doubly linked list. So how can we do that? For example, in doubly linked list, we have two pointers. One is a next pointer, one is a previous pointer. So we need to reverse that, which means it should start from 196, and its next pointer should be 59. Its previous should be null, and same is the case with other nodes. So first of all, we will start reversing from the first node, which is 75. We just need to swap its previous and next pointer with each other. For example, in a node 75, we have a previous node null and next node 122. So we need to make its next node as null and its previous null 122. And when we will come to its next node 122, needs to make its previous node 75, and sorry, next node as 75 and previous node as 59. So yeah, and when we have to reverse the whole list, we need to return that. So let's write its code. If we have reached the end, then we will return the end, else we will move it forward, and just we can add for the sake of syntax. Okay, let's submit. Yeah, it's done. So
Okay,
let
Shivam, I just want to ask you something. Can you just revise the question because there is some misunderstanding that I got into
yes.
in the understanding part where you have written the question.
Mm-hmm. Here.
No, yeah. Can you just elaborate me like how this thing you have
Okay.
performed?
So we have been given a doubly linked list, and it's starting from 75. Its
Okay,
next pointer is pointing towards the next node 122, and its
okay,
previous pointer is pointing towards null.
okay.
And when we reach its next node 122, its
Hmm.
next pointer is pointing towards node 59. Previous pointer is pointing to node 75.
Okay,
And first of all, we'll traverse from its head. We'll get 75.
okay,
So we will swap its next pointer with its previous pointer.
okay,
Like its next pointer has become null, and its previous pointer has become 122. And when we reach 122, same we'll do in this. We'll make its next pointer as 75 and
mm-hmm.
previous pointer as 59.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, we'll just swapping the pointers.
Yeah. Now I got it because I was just thinking about,
Mm-hmm.
why we are even considering two pointers. Now I understand why it is.
Yeah, and when we will reach the end, it will become the first node, so we can directly return it. We need not to store the head like we need to do in single linked list.
Okay, so when temp is equals to null, it will return directly the head. Yeah, and if that is not the case, then temp will return to head. And why we have actually included the return null statement at the end of this function?
Because just 20 second. If we will get error because there is an it's under if condition.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't do it, we'll get an error.
Head
We
return
will
is
report error because but sometimes we get error if we didn't return anything. As you see in C++, we return 0 in the main function.
okay.
Yes.
And now I got it.
Okay. So now
मेरा भी सॉल्यूशन इसी से सिमिलर ही है।
Mm-hmm.
ये वाला
हाँ, किया था।
just swap हमने previous और next node.
हाँ, मैंने भी यही सोचा था।
हम्म
लेकिन मैंने ना एक और पॉइंटर बनाया था, तो मैंने इसका
हाँ,
स्क्रीनशॉट।
मैं वही चीज देख रहा था कि यहाँ पे एक ना, जैसे
हाँ,
इसने यहाँ पे
इसमें
हेड का नेक्स्ट किया है, तो वहाँ पे नेक्स्ट
हम्म,
पॉइंटर हम लगा सकते थे। मैं वही सोच रहा
हाँ,
था कि 3 पॉइंटर से
बस
होता
मैं अपना सॉल्यूशन तुम्हें पर्सनली भेजती हूँ,
है।
पर्सनल उस पर।
मैं वही सोच रहा था क्वेश्चन की, इसने 2
मैंने
पॉइंटर दिया, तीसरा कहाँ गया?
लाइक मतलब इस टाइप के क्वेश्चन उसमें करता है सिंगल लिंक लिस्ट में.
हम्म,
मैं सबसे पहले डायग्राम बनाया ये.
हम्म,
उसके
हाँ
बाद
हाँ
ये
हाँ
देख के लगा कि दोनों स्वैप कर दो सिंपली हो रहा क्वेश्चन है.
हाँ, मैंने भी ऐसे ही किया था। ये दिखाऊं? अरे, अरे, अच्छा, ये यहाँ पे ऐसे कि ऐसे 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 जाएगा, इसको यहाँ पे लिंक करना, इसको ये करना।
हम्म
नाइस, नाइस।
मेरा एक और पॉइंटर बना था। बाकी योगी ने मेरे को एक चीज बताई थी। इसके अंदर जो इफ सेव इज इक्वल टू नल ब्रेक वाली लाइन है ना, वो योगी ने बताई थी।
हम्म
नाइस।
इसको मीडियम कैटेगरी का क्वेश्चन कंसीडर कर सकते हैं, इजी तो नहीं है ये।
आई थिंक सो इजी है. वो सिंपल डेटा
इजी है,
स्ट्रक्चर है.
हाँ, वो भी है, लेकिन ठीक है, मतलब बढ़िया था।
अच्छा क्वेश्चन है.
लीड कोड वाला पीओटीडी हो गया तुम्हारा?
संगम कर दिया है.
हो गया। करें फिर वो वाला।
हम्म
सुनो, हमारे पास जो यहाँ पे क्वेश्चन गिवन है, उसके अंदर हमें बोला गया कि हमें फ्रीक्वेंसी फाइंड करनी है मोस्ट फ्रीक्वेंट एलिमेंट की इस पूरे एरे के अंदर। सो यहाँ पे हमें एग्जांपल जो दिया गया वो क्या दिया गया, 1 2 4, और हमारे पास जो फ्रीक्वेंसी है वो है यहाँ पे 5 की। सो लेट्स जस्ट से दिस इज आवर एरे, सो दीज आर द एलिमेंट्स इन दिस एरे एंड the maximum alteration we can do, it should be up to 5. So now what does this means is, let's just say this is our array. Now I can do 2 or 3 changes in this array. First of all would be, I will take the bigger element and I can say that 2 will be transferred to 4. Now what does that means? I'm going to interchange the value of 2 to 4, and How many values do I need to interchange 2 to 4? That will be 2, because 4 minus 2 will give us 2. So I have made here two changes, as a result of which I am able to get the value of 4 here. Now these two changes is what I have made. Now out of the 5 changes, 2 have been made. So as a result, now I am getting what? 3 changes left to do more if I want to do. So as I am being given here 1, so what can I do is I can actually change 1 to 4, and only thing that I need is I need to add 3 more elements to 1. And as I have already been given here 3, that is the 3 elements that I have been available that I can use here. So that is what we are going to do. So after making these changes, what am I getting is an array where 4 can come 3 times, and I just have to return the element in the array in this array, which when making the changes according to the value of k, we are getting the most frequent one. So here the most frequent one will be this one. Now if you consider the example of 3, 9, 6, 9 and 6, here the value that we have been given here is 2. So that is, I have been given 1 and 1 here. Okay, and by adding these 1 to any of the element, I can do addition in these elements such that I can make any value similar to this value. But if you observe it carefully, you are going to find out that even if I add 1 to 3, that will make it 4. And if I add 2 to 3, that will make it 5. Still my array would be 5, 9 and 6. And here no two elements are similar. 5 is different, 9 is different and 6 is different. So the only most frequent element that we are going to get here is 1. So that is the case we have to consider. If you consider the another example, 1, 4, 8, 13, 1, 4, 8 and 13, here the number of changes that we can make is 5. So the value of k that we have been given here is 5. Now if you observe it carefully, the difference between 13 and 8 is what? 5. So if I add 8, 5 to the value of 8, I'm going to get 13. So as a result, in this array, the occurrence of 13 will be 2. Now, again, if I consider the array from 8 till 4, what I'm going to observe it as, if I add 4 to this element 4, I'm going to get 8. So as a result, the occurrence of 8 in this array will become 2. And after making this change, there is one element or one variable that we are going to be left with, that is, after adding 4 to 4, I have used 4 and I am just left with 1. And even if I add 1 with 2, like 1 plus 1, even if I add 1 with 1, I'm going to get 2. And the final array would be 2, 8, 8 and 13. So here still the maximum frequent element is what? 2. Similarly, if I do the operation on this element, I will be left with 2 and I won't be able to have any more frequent element. So the final thing is that the most frequent element in this array is 2. So now let's just understand that how we are going to solve this problem, because you can solve this problem via many methods, but the most frequent one which will not give you time complexity will be like sliding window one. So, so let's just consider this example, okay? Okay, and now consider this formula. Just understand it right now and I am going to explain it forward that how it is actually applying. So nums is the array that we have been given here. Okay, so nums of right when multiplied with the length of the array, length of that sequence, or you can say if it is greater than target, or yeah, target plus k. Just understand this formula right now, because this is the key to all this problem.
What is
Now
the
here
length
what
of sequence?
the length of sequence, yeah, I'm not going to make you understand this thing, I will elaborate it. Let's just move it forward by taking one step at a time. Okay.
Okay.
Now at finally, if you're not able to understand, then just ask me whatever you want to. So
Yeah.
here we are going to take two variable. First one will be left, it will 0, and the second one will be right, it will also always also be 0. Then we are going to take a third variable which will be target. Okay, and initially it will also be 0. So first of all we are going to apply a for loop, and here right will move from 0 till the size of this array, and as we can see the element in this array are what, are how many, 6. So it will move till 5 because we are taking it from a 0 based indexing. Okay. Now the next thing that we are going to do now is just add the value of index that is available at R to the value of target. So target will be equals to target plus nums of R. Okay, so wherever our value of index right will move, we are just going to add that element to the value of our target. So that is what we have done until this case. Okay, so let's just consider the case that we are now at index 2. So it will be at 0, 1, 2, 3. So we are right now at index 3. Our target till now is what? 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus, and this will be 2. So it will be 5. Okay, our value that we have been given here is how many? Because the number of changes that we can do, let's just say it is 2. Okay, so it is considered to be 2. And then the next thing that we need is length of sequence. So the length of sequence is that our left right now is at 0, our right now is at 3. So this is the length of the sequence. It is just the total length of difference between the number that is, or the index at which right is available and the index at which left is available. So we can explain this or write this as left minus right plus 1. So that will be our length of sequence, and in this case it is what, right is 3, left right now is 0, and then adding the value of 1. So it basically is 4 right now. Now after applying these value in this formula that I have already described here, you guys. So now let's just take this value, nums of right. What is the value of right now? It is 2. When it is multiplied by length of sequence, as we have already learned here, that the length of sequence is what, r minus l plus 1, which here is 4. If it is greater than, what is the value of target? What is the value of sum till 2? It is 5. And when we are going to add the value of like how many changes that we can make in this array is 2. So we are going to get here is 8, which is greater than 7. Whenever this type of condition arises, what we are going to do is we are just going to decrement the value of this sequence. So we are just going to increment the value of plus plus left. Okay, so initially it was at 0, now we are just going to increment it by 1. So now left will of our will become 1. And here we are just going to while loop and just write this code here, and we are going to keep incrementing the value of left here. Now the thing that we have to understand here is that why we have applied this formula. So if you understand it, 1 1 1 2 is our sequence that have been given to us here. Now what is the maximum value in this sequence? It is 2. Yeah, and if the length of sequence is 4, and if let's just say that 2 is available at every index of this sequence. So let's say 2 is available here, 2 is available here, and 2 is available here. So what would be the value of this sequence? It will be what? It will be 8. 8. And now we are going to calculate the original value of this index, that what is the original value. So if you are going to carefully see, it is 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2. So that is the value of 5. That is why we have written here 5. So if the value of this whole sequence be 2, then the value should be 8, but right now it is 5. So to make it to 8, how many changes do I need to do? So I need to do how many? I need to do 3 changes, because it is right, it should be 8, but right now it is 5. So the thing that that I am getting here is that I need to make 3 additions to the value of these 1 here, as a result of which I am going to get the value of 8. But the variables or the options that we have been given here, through which we can make the changes, is 2. So as a result, even if I made the changes, and which I can make only 2, so I can just add 2 here, or I can add like 1 here and 1 here, it will make the value of these variable as 2. The ultimate result will not be like valid. So that is why we are applying here the formula. The basic reason for this formula is find the maximum element of this sequence, that is 2, and then see that until what length this sequence would be applicable. So in this case, if we are doing it on a sequence of 4, we are not getting this condition. So to make this condition favorable for us, what we need to do is we need to reduce this sequence. So if we are now going to consider the sequence 1 1 2, if you now observe it, just by putting the values of these sequence in our formula, nums of right will be 2. When it will be multiplied with long length of sequence, which right now here is 3, we are going to get 6. So is it is greater than what? What is the current value of the sequence? It is 4. And the option that we have been given here is 2. So if we observe carefully, we are getting this thing, which actually is not true. So after finding a sequence in which this formula will be applicable, the next thing that we just have to do is see that if this sequence length is maximum or not, and after that we have finded that thing, we're just going to return the value as an answer. So that is the basic thing that we are doing here. We are actually first of all sorting the arrays, so we do not get any kind of redundancy in our array. The second thing that we are doing is we are taking a left variable, then we are taking a result. In this case, we have taken here, and the third thing that we are taking here is the long variable, which is total. So after that, we are applying a for loop, which is considering the value of right, then adding the value of right to our total, then checking the sequence, that it is inside the length or inside, or it is a valid sequence. After we had concluded that, then we are going to just find the length of the sequence, that is it is the maximum one or not, and after we have done that, we are just going to return the value to our answer. So that is how we are going to solve this problem. Any doubt that you have?
What's the static casting?
What the static casting? So what is happening is that when we are actually doing this multiplication, sometime what is happening is, if we are not including this thing, then nums of right is an integer,
Mhm.
and right minus left plus 1 is also an integer. So when we are multiplying these two integers, sometimes the value after multiplication is much larger than the value an integer variable or integer in the C++ can store. So as a result, we are getting the error. That is
Okay,
why we have
it's like
used
a
here static
explicit
casting.
casting.
Yeah, what static casting is doing is, before doing the multiplication, it is changing the variable of right minus left plus 1 to long. So as a result, if we even do the multiplication, the answer that we are going to get will be in terms of long and not intent.
Okay, understood.
So we are not like overflowing anything, we are just staying within our limit.
Okay.
And did you understand the logic that why we are actually using this formula?
Yeah, understood.
Okay. So with that, if we submit this code, you are going to see that it is working absolutely fine. So with that, we like to conclude this today question.
So yeah, guys, thanks for joining